Hello and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. My name is Britt Endies. I am a professional dog trainer. The reason for this podcast is to share my dog training experience with you if you are a dog or puppy owner seeking advice, if you are a client in the real world looking to supplement the work we are doing, and if you're just anyone interested in dog training, dog behavior, and the life of a professional dog trainer, this podcast is for you. I always ask, please rate, review, share, subscribe, give feedback. You can ask questions. My email is dogtrainingla@gmail.com. My website is dogtrainingla.com. And you can find me anywhere on social media, looking up my name or the Dog Savant. Anyway, I am going right into it today based on an incident I had earlier this morning in a client session. I've been, more or less a good boy, the past year plus. I've been keeping it to basic subject matter, not going on rants too much unless they were, with the intent to be helpful, to educate, or give insight to something that's related to dog and training, dog training and behavior. And I'm going to be doing that here as well. Excuse me. But there might be a little bit of a passion behind it because I'm downright upset about what I just incurred this morning. So I'm with a client. She has a Malinois puppy. As anyone would know, this is a working dog. This is not a dog for everyone. Quite frankly, I don't think that everyday dog owners are equipped to handle a dog like this. So I had to tell her that day one. We've been working together for about 3 weeks now, doing wonderfully. This girl, I have to give her all the credit. She's being consistent. She took full ownership of the dog, the breed, and the need to raise any puppy by the book, and she's doing it. So now we're at the point we're out working in some public situations to work on recall and distractions around other dogs. And there's an area in LA, there's many parks, but this one, it's a big grassy area, and I've been going here for years. If you look into it, you can see videos of me doing all types of things in this specific park and never had an issue. So we're working with the Malinois, and this dog is very willful. Of course, they started on a harness, as many people do, because the purely positive people want to think that it's a one-size-fit-all approach to dog training, and they don't even take into account very strong, working, driven breeds that can just be dominant by nature, and they're not going to have it when you put a harness. Your opposition reflex is getting triggered. And we even tried using a Star Mark collar, which is a plastic prong collar, and that was creating pulling and lunging and just not enough control. So we went to a micro pinch collar, which is a 2.25 millimeter smaller, gauge or smaller size prong pinch collar. I've been using these for years. If they're used properly and safely, there is nothing ever happens to the dog negative. I've never had the report. I've worked with these collars and clients using them on their own thousands upon thousands of times for nearly 3 decades. Okay, and I say that with confidence. It's the truth. It's not my opinion. It is what it is. I think I'm a good cross-section of use of training collars at this point, being doing this as long as I have with so many owners and dogs. Okay, so now that I've qualified that, we're using it, and I'm working with the dog, and the dog got ahead and started fighting. I didn't even correct the dog. The dog had the silver pinch collar on, and the dog was fighting and started vocalizing that. And anyone who's trained dogs and anyone who's gone through the process, some dogs, not out of pain, but out of desperation and not liking to be, because I was asking the dog to heel behind me, and it wanted to keep getting ahead to go to the dogs that were off in the distance. Okay, so I basically felt that it was frustrated, it vocalized, and then I got control and I was walking not thinking of it. Then I hear someone yelling from across the park, and I'm listening. It was a gigantic muscular man. I'm not a small guy, right? 6'1", 210. This man makes me look like a baby. I was like, oh boy. So I'm like, what is this guy yelling? Is he being nice? And I'm like, he has a problem with what we're doing, because I heard some words about the collar. What are you doing with this puppy? And I realized, okay, Brett, you either have to run, ignore, or just get into de-escalation mode. So I was like, oh, you don't understand. We're doing a training session. This is a working breed dog. We need to use this collar. And the dog was just frustrated. It wasn't getting its way. And my client just said basically the same thing. Oh, no, he's my trainer, blah, blah, blah. It just made this guy flip out even more. Now he starts coming at me, and I'm just trying to walk away and whatever. And I turn around and I says, do you understand what breed this is and what we're trying to do? And are you a trainer professionally, right? You then will talk if you have a problem with what I'm doing, because you may understand what I'm talking about, what's going on, and then you wouldn't react like that, of course. Anyway, just to call him out to get him to maybe back off. No, it just made him feel even more upset at me and whatever. And I was being so de-inflammatory. I just knew the guy would throw me, he would kill me. So I had to de-escalate the situation and get the guy to either calm down or just get myself back to my car so I could leave. And my client, she was a young girl, and she was scared too, I could tell. So didn't get through to him. And I just said, have you ever trained a dog like this? Again, he's like, I don't give a F if that's a Malli-Noise or not. You don't train a dog like that. I says, oh, you mean a Malinois? And then I just walked away and I got to my car and we left and we ended the session short, which is now interfering with my client's time and mine and the work we're trying to do in a public place where I had every right to be there and not be interfered with. Okay, so now that's what happened, right? I'm a big boy, I get over it, I understand. I've had run-ins, not so scary, admittedly, in the past. I've had idiots online say stuff. People in public, more people just like, oh, that poor dog, what are you doing? And you just mind your business and they get mad and you walk away. But this is something I really had to strategize while it was happening to keep myself and my client from really getting in a dangerous situation. Right. So this is the world we live in, right? It's gotten that bad. And I think it also is now we're at the place where people think they can take it to a violent place out of their own feelings of social justice. And I talked to another client of mine who's doing good work and I think has a similar insight to how humanity can be, especially nowadays. And I'm going to try to just kind of articulate what he had told me, because he could tell I was upset. He knew, as well as I consciously know, it's not my problem. We did nothing. We were just doing what many dogs get trained that way. This guy just had a feeling that he was going to throw his size around, and out of his own, he had a girlfriend with him that he probably wanted to impress, and all these other things out of his own insecurities made him feel not just to ask a question or to say one thing, but to literally feel to get violent. And then when explained calmly and clearly from an experienced perspective, a dog trainer for almost 30 years, he still had in his, and again, he was gone. That's the whole point I'm getting to here. There's a lot of people who, and I apologize if you're one of them, but I doubt you are if you're listening to this, and none of my clients seem to be this way. A lot of people with unfulfilled lives that don't have anything going on, they're not helping anyone, including themselves, and then they feel so strong, it gives them this warm bath of emotions, this feeling of, I did good, I count, I matter now, because he wanted to basically feel like somebody else should die, or he was threatening me. All types of words were coming out of him because he didn't agree with something that he didn't understand and wasn't in his value system. Now, we see a theme in that in a lot of society now, and I'm not a political guy. I'm a human. I don't care what country, place, where you're from, what you do, who you love, what you look like. Just be a good, decent person and work and contribute, okay? And that's what I feel people who do not fit into that, I think a very wide swath of my fellow humans seem to be the ones who want to say something. I was putting videos of my class yesterday. It was so positive. All the dogs are doing great. And I put a short video, 10, 15 seconds of after class, we let the puppies and the guaranteed historically to be social friendly dogs with no issues on leash or otherwise with dogs to mingle and play, but on a leash, because we are in a non-fenced park and there are leash laws and we don't want dogs to run off and be unsafe. And before I do it, I have all the dogs line up and sit before they run up to each other. And I recommend to please try to maintain slack on the leash. If your dog keeps slack, try to walk the other way or put your dog in a sit or tug on the leash to get some slack back in the leash, because for some dogs, it can breed frustration, aggression. Now, again, the dogs that are doing this playtime are historically, they're either young puppies or they're dogs that have no issues related to dog aggression, reaction whatsoever. Historically, that's just not the issue we're working on. We're doing something else in our training or obedience. And again, I give the owners a lecture to be very conscious of the tension, even as a secondary measure to keep it safe and appropriate training-wise to promote good behavior in dogs and not the wrong things that can make, yes, of course, tension on a leash can contribute to reactivity if a dog has the potential for it and you haven't worked through and you're not at all aware of it. Again, you saw a 10, 15-second video. Now, again, what's the point of it is that there's other trainers, because I saw their stupid comments and I totally just, I responded and I just blocked and deleted, and I assume my comment got deleted too, but who wanted to comment that the leash is tense and this and that, and I'm like, is this what you're doing? Is you're just combing through the internet, looking at other dog trainers' videos that are just put out there because other clients are sharing, they want to see their dogs playing on a video because they like it, and it keeps my clients happy, and it just shows that we're socializing dogs and getting out there because the pandemic's opening up and all this. And someone just and again, there's so many trainers that they say good stuff. I know who you are, and it just support or don't say anything, or send me a private message. But no, you won't send me a DM about it. You're gonna post on the public forum on someone else's post because you want to show how you know better. You're more experienced. You're a better trainer. You're a better person. That's what we're doing here. And you know, maybe I used to do it a little bit like just more making fun of like gimmicky shit, or I talk about positive reinforcement because of the time after time accounts of clients who've done it and it failed them, and the client said that balanced dog training served their dog better and actually worked, and everyone was happier in the long run. Again, not opinion, but I just comment on a fact based on experience. Not that I feel. And again, you might be commenting on your, I do get it. Tense leashes do cause potential reactivity, but you don't take into account the dogs. All the other dogs that had that potential were way off on the sidelines, sitting or laying down, observing because they cannot handle even being close contact with dogs. So that was mitigated. Again, I don't post because who wants to hear me giving a 2-minute lecture to dog owners before we do a certain exercise to please be conscious of not letting the leashes get crossed, not letting the tension happen. You know, being aware of your dogs. If they get too stiff or they start lining up in the wrong way, pull them away and give them a timeout and a break. Walk them around. Get slack in the leash. I went through all that, but still, some trainers who I would assume that if you're a good trainer with experience and half a reputation, you are filled to the gills with, you have no time for anything. I feel bad. I can barely answer my client calls, texts, and new clients who want to, I'm booking 2 months out. For me to comment other than a quick like or good job or whatever, or just have some thoughts. Or again, if you do, great, but just send me a private message or email me or call me, text me. My number's, you can look me up. I'm very easy to reach in many ways. But you want to post because maybe you're not that good a dog trainer. Maybe you're not having the amount of clients I have. Maybe you can have a class of 30 dogs come together and all work in a wonderfully, beautifully collective way to help and connect, and my owners are now making new friends through this class and all these things that are positive. But we want to comment because maybe we're not doing such a good job, so we want to one up instead of just not say anything, find the good, or ask a question indirectly so it's one-on-one like a human being, not like some savage online, which is It's unbelievable how many. Look, I dealt with it this morning online and in the real world with social justice getting in the way of something that my client was happy I was working with in the park with her dog. She had no issue with the collar. She didn't think her dog was in distress or pain. But this person who did, and even when explained, wanted to kill us. So this has to be I think I'm articulating it pretty well here as far as the psychology, the phenomenon, why this happens. And you, if you're listening to this and you're someone or another trainer who's catching this from other, people, call them out on it. Tell them why they're doing what they do. Or ask questions that puts the spin back on them so they have to think a little, which they're going to melt down and call you bully, animal abuser, in certain elements of life. They'll call you a racist. I mean, whatever it is, it's just they just drop the A-bomb on you and say, oh, ha, now I win because I make you feel shamed. Don't feel shamed, because a lot of these people, they're the ones who are doing things to undermine the good things, to things where people are doing the work, people are being productive, people are waking up every day with an intent to contribute, not to dismantle. And that's what a lot of that social justice and all the people in the world who want to tell you how to live if you don't think like them and force you to be one way or the other, I am telling you right now, it is the same exact thing as the purely positive that I had no clue other than, because I'm just in dog land. I've existed, I think like a dog. I mean, it's all I'm thinking is dogs, clients. And now I understand it's just a certain, I think it's still a small portion, or unfortunately, because I'm a dog trainer in Los Angeles, it is a bigger portion of the people there. But in majority of people in this country and the world, I don't think it is. I think they just made people who are doing the work, decent people. They don't have to compensate with social justice 24/7. They're focusing on the right priorities in life. They're not trying to hurt other people and vilify and cancel and all that, or claim how good and woke and project all this stuff onto the world and other people. Most of those people, they're just afraid to speak out and they just don't know. And that's what I'm saying. If you can just learn how to, even on a forum like this, just let people, because I'm even coming from my client who opened my mind so I can now explain a little bit better the phenomenon, and I feel better. I don't feel as hurt. Well, when do you get affected? Because I care. Because I want these dogs that I work with to have the best, or work through their problems and help these people. You know what? I care about other people. I see other humans with a compassionate set of eyes. All right? I'm not trying to decimate or find the bad. I see mistakes they make. It's not like I'm going to just destroy them because I don't agree with what they did. Maybe, where's that coming from? And maybe we can have an adult discussion and come to some middle ground, or agree to disagree and still say, hey, you're still decent. You're still putting in the work, right? But this isn't, it's sad. And unfortunately, because in LA, when you walk around as a dog trainer, you see everyone on harnesses, every dog's out of control. We just have, it's basically you walk around, it's dog shit because of the, no one takes ownership to clean up after themselves because they don't care. They just want to look like they care. You get dogs running around on harnesses because, again, they don't care if their dogs are miserable and out of control or running up and affecting other people's lives, or dogs that they don't want to have their dogs running up to and yapping at them and causing problems, right? But they show the harness because it's gentle in other people's eyes. Again, to show that they care, but they really don't care. And then there's other parts of certain cities like LA that are horrific on a human element that is worse than a third world nation. And it's because of the mindset of so many people who just, it's just, who cares as long as I look like a good person, because I'm really not taking action at all in my life or at all to contribute to society. So I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to name this podcast Malli-Noise. Thank you so much. Have a great day.